Also Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Awwal. Al-Awwal, when referring to Allah Azza wa Jal, means the eternal. And the eternal here means the one whose existence is without a beginning. Al-Awwal. Some might translate it as the one. Now, when you say Al-Awwal, or the first, here it means the one whose existence is without a beginning. So when we say Allah is Al-Awwal, we mean Allah's existence is without a beginning. His existence is not preceded by non-existence. Everything other than Allah Azza wa Jal is created by Allah Azza wa Jal. So its existence was preceded by non-existence. Like we now exist. However, 100 years ago, none of us was existent. So our existence was preceded by the state of non-existence. But only Allah Azza wa Jal, whose existence is not preceded by non-existence. Because Allah is Al-Awwal, the one without a beginning. So because Allah is Al-Awwal, the one without a beginning, so His existence is not preceded by non-existence. The scholars of Islam said, only Allah Ta'ala, His existence is without a beginning. But other than Allah, everything in this universe is created by Allah Azza wa Jal. So it has a beginning. The Arsh has a beginning. The Kursi underneath the Arsh has a beginning. The skies have a beginning. The earth has a beginning. They're all created by Allah Azza wa Jal. Darkness is created by Allah. Light is created by Allah Azza wa Jal. At a point in time, there was no darkness and there was no light. Allah first created water that is underneath the Arsh, then He created the Arsh. So at that time, there was no darkness and no light. Allah Azza wa Jal created after that darkness and light. Allah said, وَجَعَلَ الظُّلُمَاتِ وَالنُّورِ. Allah created darkness and light. Now if you were to imagine a time when there was no darkness and no light, you won't be able to. Your mind cannot encompass or comprehend or contain this fact. Although these are creations. Darkness and light are creations of God. So there was a time when there was no darkness and no light. Now you can imagine this place dark. You can imagine it enlightened. But can you imagine it with no light and no darkness? You can't. Because we are familiar with darkness as we are familiar with light. But no darkness and no light, we cannot comprehend this. Although we believe in it. But our minds cannot contain, encompass this fact. That's why the scholar said that one's mind cannot encompass the reality of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if one is unable to encompass something that is a creation, that at a point in time there was no darkness and no light, and he cannot encompass this by his mind, how can he encompass the reality of Allah Azza wa Jal? That's why the scholar said, no one knows the reality of Allah except Allah. No one knows the reality of Allah except Allah. But what we know about Allah, we know about the attributes of Allah, about the names of Allah. That's what we are studying. But we cannot reach the reality of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's why we believe Allah exists. His existence is without a beginning because Allah is El-Awwal. We believe Allah's existence is without an end. And that's the meaning of Al-Akhir. So Allah is Al-Awwal, without a beginning, Al-Akhir, without an end.